Ugandans have sacrificed a great deal because of COVID-19. Spent almost 75 days away from their workspaces, and the disease has been coming in from truck drivers mostly. So there is a fundamental question on the economy. What is government going to do to pay back Ugandans for the economy that they've lost? But what is it going to do to also sort of stimulate this economy?
The government of Uganda has sourced money, and they pressed money in Uganda Development Bank and a microfinance company. But you see, 90% of the business sector is informal. Now my main question is, Raymond, try to go and start. How long does it take you to access money in Uganda Development Bank? Do you even have the competence of pursuing this money? This ordinary person, if we are infusing money into the economy, where do we want to put our targets? We need to put our targets onto those 90% who are the informal sector. When I was in prison, I was listening to TV quite a lot. Apparently these women in markets, they are money lenders on the gates of the markets. These money lenders, they lend you money, you go and turn it around, you put up their interest, and you also be able to save something to eat. Why should this continue to be? For example, why don't we work with these money lenders and infuse money so that we bring down the cost of money? The other point is, and I want this really to be registered very, very importantly, when we have these small circles, designed by Ugandans, Niginya, I don't know what, they have so many small circles. What if we rather reduced on the money we are putting in Uganda Development Bank and put it in these circles and some business associations and be able to bring the cost of money down? That, for example, in my own regard, if I was the one making decisions, that would be more important than pressing money in the microfinance center and the Uganda Development Bank. Of course, we have got big businesses which make big money, but those may not be the people who suffered most in the last 2 months. Those who suffered most are the 1.5 to 1.8 million Ugandans who, for example, simply live from hand to mouth. How are we addressing them? I want us to take ourselves to the issue of border borders. I don't know if you know the story of border borders. Border borders are owned by Mujuni, and then Tumukunde, or lessors who own them and they lease them to these border boys. Now these border boys are halfway between paying or quarter way between paying. Now once the lockdown is further, rather reduced, border carrying luggage will no longer be very relevant, because you can go to shops and shop for yourself. But this border, 1.2 million borders feed 6 million Ugandans, I'm told. It's a statistic. Now, if we just tell them we are not able to carry on with you, because time to them matters, the owner may not be as happy with this person, especially now. The same thing applies to the rider himself. He has no life, and they are not few. So the next question is, what have we put in place to shock absorb these individuals? And what place they hold in the constituency of our economy?
With the lockdown, of course, came the curfew, and the rationale for the curfew is that security. we need to limit movement of people at night, because if people can move, then they cause insecurity. But you've just elucidated for us how many people in the informal economy have been out of a job. And it's no longer just a matter of them being a point of insecurity. It's also a matter of their livelihood. How does security respond to the livelihoods of individuals?
1.2 million border riders cease to have sufficient food. What do you think happens? In the process even of relocating back to villages, are you sure we shall not have serious problems in our security system in the urban areas, especially Kampala? Back to, we've been exposing naked. Why don't we, the security, go back to the drawing table? Look at the possibilities. For example, I was looking at the statistics of the South Africans. Crime reduced by 65% because of curfew and absence of alcohol. So, in our circumstances, when these 1.2 million borders don't have food, when these informal sector livelihood supported human beings cease to have this, certainly you'll have more insecurity. Then the next question is, you require more budget for security companies. But again, before you press this budget with security companies, the first attempt should be to shock absorb these people who have lost their livelihoods. I would press my first money there before I spend more money sharpening and equipping security. My prediction, my estimates are that the security of this city will change. And therefore, the earlier we think about it, the better. But the better medicine is shock absorbing this person who has lost his livelihood because of these circumstances and the last 2 months inactivity.
From which you submitted papers, from which you demanded a roadmap for the elections, says now they are not sure whether they will have an election. What is your take? Should we have the election? Should we not have the election? Should it be postponed?
If you asked my view, for all that we are not able to do, are we unable to conduct an election? For all that we are not able to do, are we unable to conduct an election? From this discussion, since we started and where we are, my main view is that where are our most important priorities? Yes, but you see, there is also something that continues to be absent. Why don't you call some of us and discuss with us? Yes, because I don't think COVID selects colors. COVID is not yellow. I was watching an Acholi man, Acholi or Ateso, who was chasing away locusts. They are yellow in color and saying, NRM, go back to your place, leave us here. I don't know if it was a typical social media, but it was very, very, so it's not the locusts which are yellow and therefore NRM. And we are here, we have ideas. Some of the opposition leaders, for example, Mr. Mujuni, are doctors, like Dr. Kiza Vesely. Don't you think it matters? That since this is raining on top of all of us, we would rather sit and discuss these subjects and contribute ideas, and we shall not carry our political jackets into this discussion. No, we shall leave the yellow locusts behind. Is it possible to conduct an election in 6 months? If we all say yes and we agree, that's why they call the Electoral Commission the Uganda Independent Electoral Commission. Independent emphasized. Why don't they call us for a discussion? Why should the running government be the one to hold all this in their own hands? Yes, dominating so much ground in circumstances that seem to affect everybody. So, back to this locust, not only yellow, has many colors. I am of the view that we need to sit and discuss all this. If I was to advise, called in, I would advise without any political prejudice. As I'm discussing COVID, you can see I'm discussing this subject exterior of my political thinking. Yes.
Then would you advise the Electoral Commission to postpone that election?
To invite us for a discussion, to look into every nitty-gritty about whether we are able to conduct an election, and maybe also a government discussion with the opposition, because I always hear these iPod, I don't know, many of these to discuss whether it is our most important priority in the circumstances. We are simply, I am as uninformed as you are. I think I last heard from the Electoral Commission when they replied my letter. That's all I hear from them. The rest is simply, I'm sure, a matter between them and other people, certainly not myself, unless you cease to consider me as somebody who is, I'm vying. Yes, maybe sure you should end up by emphasizing this. We are vying. We entered this matter seriously. It's like the great saying of marriage, that it's not by the pullings of lust and all of that, that it is a business that is taken on seriously.
My final question, and we close with this one. You have the numbers of Dr. Kizza Besigye, you have Bobby Wine's number. During this COVID time, have you picked up the phone to say, hello, I think that we should do this?
No, we call each other. We call each other. The bigger issue is the frequency at which everyone looks at this matter. We call each other. We are talking. I don't want to be one of those who thinks it's a secret. We are talking, and we call each other. We communicate. We can't meet easily because of this COVID, but at least the electronic lines are open. We talk. We make sure we convince each other. But the bigger question is talking all we need to do? We need to act, come together. Yesterday, yes, and I'm glad the language of men is changing. Yes, yesterday the language was, me, I will not be able to be led by. If somebody has been elected by others to offer leadership, what is very exceptional about you and you underline? Yeah. So for me, this is the message. Then the message to Ugandans: we shall not be able to reach them as we should have done in a normal campaign. They should marshal themselves and organize.